Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, our praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakah Kodash, Brakatham. Double honors shall go to apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone who continue to teach and to rule well. Shalom to the Akims, a great millstone of like-minded camps and individuals who continue to teach us one body, who continue to be out on the highways and byways, risking their lives for the greater good. Shalom to sincere Aquats, who are continuously learning in silence, as the Holy Scriptures have commanded for you to do so. And also shalom to the true believers and subscribers of this true gospel, for this should be considered a true blessing from the higher power. This is Azariah Gabar, representing the King is Coming channel, back at it with another lesson for edification purposes. All right, so this video, Abaratazah, Lord willing, is going to be yet another extension, if you will, regarding World War III. All right, because, you know, as a hopeful man of the Lord, the hopeful man of the elect, it is my job to, go into deep dives as far as spiritual understanding as to why these things are taking place. All right, because this war didn't just happen overnight for nothing. You know what I'm saying? This was prophesied, just like everything else that I bring out in my videos. Every single thing. As far as videos, not only myself, but the other Akims, the other brothers out there that's preaching this true gospel. It's spiritual, it's biblical prophecies. All right? So the title for my lesson for today will be The Least of the Flock. All right? Salakia, the least of the flock. Because like I said, this is definitely biblical in these times, in these end times. So who would the least of the flock be? None other than these damn small hatters, these Amaleks. These are the ones that are causing World War III to jump off. All right? So what you see here on the screen is a video titled Iran's missiles smash U.S. bases. Trump-Israeli war backfires. All right? Because the truth is already out there that this war is not going peachy keen for Babylon and these small hatters like the local media wants to portray it to be. On the contrary. All right? So this video is damn near 2 hours long, so I'm not playing this video in its entirety. I'll play maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops, but it's going to, prove my point as to the biblical scriptures are concerned. All right? So Abaratazah, play this video and then pull up supporting precepts like I always do. And then we'll close it out. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's your host, Danny Haifong. As you can see, I'm joined by independent journalist and war correspondent Elijah Magnier. Thank you so much for joining me, Elijah. We have a lot to get to because the U.S. and Israel have begun their kinetic war, their all-out war on Iran. Thanks so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, everyone hit the like button. That helps boost the stream as we get to this critical show here. So, Elijah, first, your overall assessment. I think what Israel is calling it is what, Roaring Lion, their operation. The U.S. says this is Operation Epic Fury. They have conducted major airstrikes in Iran. They've targeted civilian infrastructure. We've seen over 40 children, I believe, at a school bombed by Israel. And we know that the United States was sending Tomahawks through Iraqi airspace. We could go on and on and on. Iran has now retaliated as well. So how about we get to first your assessment before we get into pulling up anything at all, your assessment of what has happened here and where we are now.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari.
Thank you for having me. Well, first of all, let me start with it is actually not a lion-Israeli war because the Israelis did not go to war on their own. When they did that in June 2025, they failed and they asked President Donald Trump for support to stop the war. And it is not a...
Let's stop right here. You heard what this guy said. The Amaleks did not go into this war alone. All right? So they perpetrated the initial attacks on Persia with the expectation that Babylon would join in those attacks, which exactly happened. And of course, it was a domino effect. And all these other nations are drawn into this war. Like I said, the least of the flock. Let's continue.
Fury from the American side because this is a war on behalf of Israel. Actually, it is to impose Israel as, well, not impose, to try to impose Israel as the only power in the Middle East that can intimidate or bully or impose on all the countries in the Middle East whatever they really want. And this is the theory of Benjamin Netanyahu, who said, I don't really need to bother to ask the Arab to sign a deal. Once Iran is gone, then everybody will knock my door. So that is all about. It is a war to cripple Iran's economy and military infrastructure so that can lead to the fall of the ruling system in Iran. And why I'm saying that is because both leaders, Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, said this morning that the objective of this war, and I quote them, is to change the regime in Iran. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu was a little bit more careful than Donald Trump. He said he wants to create the circumstances to change the regime. And in my understanding, covering different wars around the Middle East, it reminds me of 1990s, the war on Iraq, when the bombardment of Iraq and the sanctions imposed on Iraq, Saddam Hussein at that time, food for oil, led to the fall of the Saddam Hussein ruling system in Iraq after a few years when the country was crippled in its economy. So basically what we have seen today are two operations. The Israelis went on a personal attack to kill the leaders. Benjamin Netanyahu loves the theatrical side of any war, and Donald Trump selected the objective of military position, military target. So on one side, you have the Israelis killing political and military leaders. This is not something that happened in June 2025 because Israel told us that they went to kill the foreign minister, the president, the Iranian leader, all the top senior commanders, as they have tried to do in June 2025 when they killed the senior military commanders. And now they're killing the political commandership. Therefore, it is completely different. And we see how the Israelis are acting. We imagine that in the coming days, the war is going to be much more nasty, and that the Americans and the Israelis will target the infrastructure, the energy, the electricity, the gas, the oil, the harbor, the transport, communication system, everything that can sustain a country, to make sure that Iran will never be able to stand on its feet when there are, of course, sanctions imposed at the same time.
All right. So like I said, I was only going to play, but so much of this video is damn near 2 hours long. All right. So, there you go. You heard what this guy said. All right. And this war is just going to multiply exponentially. All right. Because you got the King Nero, Trump, talk about, oh, this is only going to be for 4 to 5 weeks. Hell no, it's not. Nope. This war is going to only escalate as time go by. And like I mentioned earlier, you're going to have more nations joining into this battle of Jehoshaphat, like the Bible says, or the battle of Yehoshaphat, or the battle of Yahweh's judgment in that in that region. All right, because like I mentioned in a previous video, that this is where it's going to start. It's going to start there, but then it's just going to, ultimately end up here, mainly in Babylon the Great, when those 200,000 horses, or those 200 million ICBM missiles finally desolate Babylon the Great forever. And that's also biblical. All right? So I'm not going to drag out this video too long. So let's get to the scripts. All right. So, Slakia, Jeremiah 49:20, it reads, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Didn't I just say that? Because eventually that fake ass state of Israel over there is going to be desolated, as well as Babylon the Great over here, when it's all said and done. And right now, from the looks of it, fake ass Israel is already halfway there as far as being destroyed. All right? But the local media, not the local, but the mainstream medias are not going to show you the true results of what's going on in this war. Okay? So, we go to Jeremiah 50:45, and it says the same thing pretty much. And it reads, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he had taken against Babylon. I just mentioned about Babylon being desolate when this is all said and done. And his purposes that he had purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Woo! All right. That's what's going to happen, you jakes. All right. And I keep telling you guys, watch, pay attention, and pray. All right? Don't sleep on the third woe. Like I had mentioned in the previous video lesson. Because this is going to affect you 2/3 in a big, big way. If you guys don't turn around, turn back to your Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, repent and convert, this is going to affect you guys. It's going to affect you guys in a big, big way. All right, so when we get to Joel 3:2, I mentioned about Jehoshaphat or Yahweh Shaphat, and it reads, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead or judge with them there for my people and for my heritage Yasharallah, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Woo! All right? This is real talk. We go to the 9th verse. It reads, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Woo! Okay? And now there's videos. There's this video that's gone viral now that a lot of these silly ass jakes are stuck over there in that area. They can't come home to Babylon. Why? Because they're stiff-necked. All right? I'm sure they knew what time it was as far as this World War III popping off very soon. But yet, nah, we got, honey, we got to go over there, we have to go over there and live up that life in Dubai. You got to take me there for my birthday. Blah, 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 blah. But guess what? Now these silly ass jakes are stuck over there. They can't come home. And there's a big possibility that they may never come home. That's it. They're going to be stuck there in that area. Just like what happened with Mexico when the cartel just started taking over. A lot of them silly jakes was down there in those resorts thinking they were living it up. All right? Champagne life. Now, I don't know if they still stuck down there or they were able to finally get out of there. But still, you jakes don't want to listen. You 2/3 I'm talking about. You jakes don't want to stop with this world globetrotting and mirth living. You still think that things are going to stay the same. All right? Now y'all finding out that this is real talk now. The good times are over. Wake up and turn back to your Lord while he still may be found. You heard? So that's going to conclude this brief lesson for today. Hopefully edification is brought forth. And as always, all praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'Hasham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hasham, Rakah Kodash, Brakatham, Kwam Yasharallah Rise Israel. And as always, Abaratazah, Lord willing, on to the next video. Shalom.